to this country having their land taken away from them even during the 1700s. And so, one of the things I want to touch on is back, with the USSR in 1991, the Russian government and the Duma, they never wanted to recognize Ukraine as an independent nation. So what we're seeing right now is more than 30 years in the making. I did an episode on my podcast, Black Diplomats, where I featured two Ukrainians, including one military journalist that's out in the field right now with the Ukrainian military, where they all talked about the 30-year anniversary or celebration of the fall of the Soviet Union, where they said basically that they're still fighting for their independence to this day because Putin refuses to recognize not only Ukraine as a sovereign nation, but Ukrainians that are independent of, and having their own agency, when he was recognizing the Donbass and Luhansk regions. Right. In his language, I mean, the way that he talked about Ukrainians is the way that racist white people talk about black people in the United States. He actually, when he says that we're coming to Ukraine to denazify,
February 25th, 2022.
It's basically a dog whistle, and basically, it's the equivalent of calling black people the N-word.
Thanks to NBC News now for
Ukraine is Putin's
reporting this.
You know how people want to stereotype Chicago when they talk about crime, when they talk about bad activity that are happening in cities, and it needs to be shut down and it needs to be over policed. It's the same narrative that Putin is making about Ukraine. Lies, lack of context, a lack of history, a lack of acknowledging of structural discrimination, and Ukraine is a victim of this revisionism, of these lies. And so so Ukraine technically has been independent, but as far as Russia is concerned, it never should have been, and that has been the attitude of the Kremlin, which predates Putin.
I know we're running a little bit over, but I have to ask one more quick thing. I don't mean to make this too personal, but you said you had friends who have gone off to fight, to try to defend Ukraine. Have they and have you made peace with the possibility that they won't make it back?
Yeah. I thank you for asking me that, because I want people to really appreciate how much this is not a game. Yeah, it terrifies me. It scares me, and I was afraid for myself, and I was afraid for my friends. I was ashamed to say it at first because this is my first time covering the war. I'm not ashamed of it anymore. I mean, I've become more resilient, but yeah, it terrifies me, and it just really shows that the bottom line is that this is a senseless war. And Putin has attacked this country for absolutely nothing. My friends are signing up to fight and are risking their lives for nothing. That's what people need to know. This war is unwarranted. It never should have happened. Putin had no intention of negotiating in good faith. And I have friends who are out there who are risking their lives, and it's all for nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Terrell Jermaine Starr, I'm sorry to pull the scab off a wound for you, but I really appreciate you being willing to talk about this and being honest about that, and I thank you for making time for us, so thank you very much.
Anytime, I'll always be here.
Coming up, Russia's invasion shook up the world's stock markets, but oil prices soared.